Before I start this off, shout the love, charity, and esteem, as I was telling y'all. That's my essence. Love, charity, and esteem. You don't know what it is? Then you ain't from it, but learn it. World's largest and strongest. The world's largest and strongest. There's no equals to it. Love, charity, and esteem. You know how I move. Hold me down. You know law enforcement trying to violate me. Hold me down. Look my record up. Hold me down. Get my back. That's something I'm dealing with this year. That's the only thing I have that I'm dealing with for real, in a serious manner. So have my back. Hold me down. Make those contacts and see what's up behind the scenes. You'll see and read how I was violated. Yes, they still try and violate me, but it don't stop the grind. I still bring them hits. Because when I'm legendary, those are the people that I'm going to look back on and I'm going to come back for. I'll be back for y'all. Everybody who violated me on my way up, and I mean trying to use the law, trying to slander me, just a lot of out-based stuff. I'm not done with you. You can say what you want. Trying to violate family in a roundabout way. Trust me. Trust me. And I won't forget who you are either. You know how I rock. Now, what I'm about to ask, go follow, subscribe to the Twitter at capital ALL, capital CZARR. You know what it is. And we about to go in. I got a question. Who's Lil Panamero? Who's Lil Panamero? If someone knows in Commenter Nation, comment below. Shout to Miss Mac. Who's Lil Panamero? Because I don't know who that is. But I read a lot what he said. And it seems like you know more than you're putting on. Yeah, not only Victor, you. Because what I read from you, allegedly, it looks like you were on the scene. Who are you? Why did you divulge information teasing on Instagram, but wouldn't go into detail with what happened? Why would you do that? Why would you think to do that and claim you're a fan? Who's Lil Panamero? And I hope it's not who I think it is from what I read also. And this was stuff commenters were sending to me that I read my way to. Who's Lil Panamero? Now, here's my thing with Lil Panamero. If you were there and you witnessed some other things and you want to say, I know what really happened, and I even seen you speaking around the terms of the Victor character, and he claimed to be about to call someone and let them know what happened. Why? Why would you have to call someone and let them know what happened when you were allegedly right there and gave your story right there on the thing? Why wouldn't you repeat the same story? You already made it public. What do you got to call someone to talk about? What else is there to talk about? You got to answer my question, because I don't know what you're talking about. What else is there to talk about? If you knew what happened, you knew what happened. If you didn't, you didn't. Why didn't these men hit an interrogation room? That's what I don't understand. And I don't care if they're African American or not, but I know who was snatched up first. I know who was hunted down like dogs, and it wasn't y'all. Why? Why? If you claim to have known what happened on social media, why are you playing for views and follows? And then you're going to sit there and retract the information and get quiet when it gets serious. And these men really start getting prosecuted. To me, that's cowards. That's cowards. If you're really cool with it and you're about what you say you're about, you would never let something like that happen. How could you let something like that happen and be comfortable? That's not sensible to me. Where's the sensibility in that? It's not. Hit that like button, because these guys is drawling. Hit that like button. They are drawling. They are drawling, and it's going to turn up. Now, here's my thing. I will get into the other characters surrounding it that I feel people are adding to try and make some lighten the burden in the situation. But just because his best friend that we know as Tankhead wasn't there doesn't mean anything involved. Anyone could have easily been watching and seeking and known the schedule and said, oh, his bull ain't there, and made a move. How does someone not showing up orchestrate all this to happen? That doesn't make sense. So whoever's saying that, get your story together. There's many times that I personally have looked into where if he wanted to get him, he could have got him. And I don't think it would have went down that way. And again, I don't think this involves those, because I told you, it would have been a much sloppier scene. I seen someone said that. I already said that. I already said that because I already know how they move. I already know how the game gets down. They would have been so much more sloppier. There would have been so many bullet holes, it wouldn't have been funny. That's what I'm saying. That's why there's no sense made out of that. So anybody saying that, that makes no sense. You get what I'm saying? You got to make sense when you're trying to link people. Make sense. That's what I'm saying. Make sense. They want to link any and every superstar, and we're going to talk about that. It's just a cover. It's a cover-up. Because these normal-ass people, and excuse my French, shout to YouTube, the normal people want to portray themselves as everyday citizens, ride their jet skis, go hop in daddy's car. Oh, I forgot. You see, I actually did research into that. Ain't it funny how I mention stuff in jest, and then it really opens up another link? Because I actually did research, and I saw many ways of implications that could have added Victor aside from him being him. Let alone him knowing that Tentacion could have went there. Man, come on. Really? Y'all really did all that? So now the plot thickens, doesn't it? It thickens. And I ain't playing with it. I'm just mentioning it objectively. Why'd you show up with your jet ski on that day? How long was your jet ski broke? What'd you get fixed? When did it get repaired? Because Riva Motorsports shut down the day after. When did it get repaired? When did you get it back? Where's the picture of Victor rolling up? All of these questions. You went with your friend Abe and one other person we're not going to name because I don't have a direct link to him to anything. Why do you play these games? Why? There's 4 men who have a felonious past who could have been trying to change their life that are being held responsible for things. You have very suspicious text messages. Who from Riva Motorsports knew Victor's girlfriend or anyone around Victor? Who did Victor know at Riva Motorsports? Let's play that game. Who'd you know, Victor? Who'd you know at Riva Motorsports? Oh, you knew everybody? Okay. I'll let you answer. Because I've seen some answers you gave when people asked some questions, and it led to more questions. And we're going to get into that this weekend. We really going to get into that. Because I was like, huh? That had nothing to do with the story you told. The story you told was so generic and so off base. Then I'm finding implications of you knowing and having relations to certain people. It's just real shady. It gets, and you know, they say the rabbit hole goes deep on this type of stuff. But I'm telling you this. It says it's more shallow than you think. And literally, it's more shallow than you think. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. So people stop saying, oh, it was Zoe's. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Cut that out. Because I have implications of other things. That is funny that your boys that chill up in the hills counting Papa's cash are more courageous to do things that they know nothing about. And they may, I'm not saying you knew what was going to happen to Tentacion and it was going to go that way, but I am saying that you're suspect in your actions. Period. Stop giving passes to the privilege. Some of these people are wicked. And it's not just people who have a felonious past. Listen, prejudice is, what did I say? I have direct evidence to cases, circumstantial evidence to cases where that was literally used to do their job. Literally. And I don't believe in tribalism, so you can't say it's any type of race-based theory. No, I don't believe in that. I've seen some people who try and gain power from tribalism. When I talk tribalism, I mean, it could be white, it could be black, it could be Mexican. I'm not into it. I'm not. My team's like United Nations. Think about that. That's my team. So you never know who's with me. That's the thing. That's why Commenter Nation is so powerful. There's too many people from too many different cultures for you to try and justify slander. That's why Commenter Nation is Commenter Nation. I don't care what YouTuber you said, oh, he speaks to commenters. Not like me. I don't care what type of YouTuber you said, oh, he interacts. Not like me. Because he's interacting for information in the story, And me, I'm willing to really interact and talk about life, talk about whatever they reach to. That's why they hit hashtag Commenter Nation. Hashtag Commenter Nation in the comments. Hit the like button. We're different over here. We're different. We're different. And we've been different. And we've been moving different. Them states I shouted out, that was just a few. Those were the top 10. And I don't know, I probably named 8. But those are the top 10. And I ain't worried about nobody else. You know how I rock. I'm not worried about that. Even though it does smell like garbage out here, they could clean that up. Sort of like what I smell when I hear some of these stories from these people claiming they had nothing to do with this. That's how it smells out here right now. And we gonna get into it. Because we ain't playing around with information. What do I know? Come on, please. Please. Now, I done reached this series to about 125, 26. Here's my thing. As the case goes on, there's going to be more to talk about. As I receive more information, there's going to be more to talk about. This definitely isn't the only thing I can do. I proved that starting this channel. There was many people, even if you didn't see it, it wasn't for the dumb, deaf, and blind to understand it. There were a good set of people that looked, was like, wow, yep, that's happening. And I was hitting direct stories even to this college I went. And I don't retract on stories. I ain't going back on it. But basically, they use a prejudice. And when 2 men committed the same crime, gave one jail time, gave the other probation. Because his father was a senator. That's why. And I exposed that. Come on. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. I've been handling business. And you know how I rock. How I always rock. Put Commenter Nation down in the comments. Follow the Twitter at sign capital ALL capital CZARR. This is entertainment. But it's entertainment for everybody. Because if you got a brain, you know what it is. What it always is. And we ain't worried about people. Come on. You know how I rock. All rights reserved.